Essex Business Radio. Hi friends, it's Elliot Browne, Essex Business Radio. As you can see behind me, doing another podcast. Here we are again. I'm really been looking forward to doing this podcast. We've been talking about it for a long time. My good friend JB is with me today. Hi JB.
How you doing, mate? Great to see you. You all right?
Yeah,
looking
really.
well.
You are looking incredibly well, I have to say.
You're flattering.
No, let's not get into that again.
Well, it depends how it goes.
Yeah, we could do. So JB and I have known each other. We were just talking about this for about 4 or 5 years, and we met on a mutual friend's stag do in Vegas.
We did.
What a great trip. And that's all we're going to say about Vegas.
Yeah.
No.
Next.
What we can say about Vegas is, if anybody hasn't been to Vegas, I love Vegas. Everybody that knows me knows that I go once a year.
Yeah.
No, I haven't been for 2 years, so it's a slight lie. But
2 minutes in a line, it's a good sign.
Well, it wasn't. It was a misjudgment. Let's call it that.
In your head, you go.
Yeah,
once
but no, I was literally going every single year. So that year, I went twice.
I remember when we got back from the stag, you went about a week later.
Yeah, we were over there. About 2 or 3 weeks later. Yeah, because being in the video games industry, I used to go over to LA and go there. Initially, used to start in LA. The first couple of years, we do 5, 6, 7 days of the show. Go to Vegas for 2. After 3 years of going to the show and the business show, we do 2 days of the show and 6 days in Vegas. Which is the right way to do it.
I'd only just recovered by the time you were flying out.
Yeah, but about that, yeah. And a great deal. We were just talking about this a little while ago, going to Mike's place, which was called Vegas Off-Road Experience at the time, and did some off-roading in some big vehicles, and we were just talking about the fact that he's now got a racetrack, which you can go and drive Ferraris and bits and pieces. Hopefully going to get Mike on the show. That would be really cool. And I think he's over here in January, February, so we'll talk about his business. He's had huge investment, and I think it's been very interesting chat. And I haven't seen Mike for a little while, so we'll talk about that.
Oh, we'll send him our best when you speak to him.
Yeah, definitely. Of course I will. And we need to organise another trip to Vegas.
Yeah, well, we've been saying about the reunion, haven't we? So
I think it's way overdue.
With my missus is watching, she should be saying about stag do that I need to organise a wedding. So we do need to get that in probably at some point.
All right.
The banker's nodding. That's why.
So we're all right. That's wait a second. Let me write this down.
Okay. Section 5. The PG version.
And then of course it was Craig's stag do, and then we saw the wedding, which was the last time that we actually saw each other, wasn't it? And we were talking about this before recording the podcast, and you said how much you loved the wedding.
He'll be watching, won't he?
He may watch this at some stage.
He's quite high maintenance, Craig, so I didn't enjoy that wedding
really?
as much as everyone else did,
he hides
given
it
that
well.
I was on duty.
No, I don't.
Well, I don't remember seeing anyone. So you saying that's the last time I saw it? I can't remember actually seeing or speaking to you that day.
No.
I think I was at his beck and call.
You were busy.
I was stressed as well. I was really nervous about the speech.
Were you?
Yeah.
I think you went really well.
I was really nervous, and the problem is that I obviously had Claridge in my ear all day.
Yeah.
And then he gave me what he said were like these speech pills. So I kept taking them. And I must have had about 18 of them. Because so by the time I got onto doing my speech, I was just like a wreck.
Really?
I was
speech pills?
And then obviously he put the pink headband and the pink boots on me.
Yeah,
and that threw me totally.
Yeah.
So,
but that wasn't the first time you wear pink headbands and boots, no?
No, but usually I'm not surrounded by 150 people.
See, that's another one for another podcast. Yeah.
That's not a business podcast.
And obviously, introducing you, your company is Lennon James.
Yeah.
And we're going to come to a bit about your business a little bit later. But I believe that the name comes from.
So the name comes from. So my boy's called Lennon James.
Yeah.
So my mum was brought up in Liverpool, as was my dad.
Yeah.
In the height of Beatlemania.
Of course.
John Lennon obviously died in 1980. I was born in 1983.
Yeah.
So I was named after him. Mum wanted to give me a good head start in life, so I'm actually Jonathan as opposed to John. So we always had the Beatles on, and it was a big thing in our house. So when we had Lennon, it was only one name. And then when it came to the business, that was one of the hardest decisions actually. What do you call a business? How do you make it personal?
Yeah.
And so we came up with Lennon James. It does become problematic if we have another kid who's going to have issues, aren't they? Daddy issues that Daddy didn't name a business after me.
Yeah,
that's maybe we'll call the letting company.
So let's start a second company.
Probably might have to. Hey.
Yeah, just on that for that reason.
Let's get the first off the ground first, and then we'll go there.
Hey, you're well off the ground. Okay. You're well off the ground.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're very welcome. Honestly, mate, I think you're doing an absolutely amazing job, and we've had long conversations about the business, and we're definitely going to come back to that in a little while. And that's been running for how long now? I mean, how long's the business been running? We
officially started in March of this year.
Yeah.
We started with nothing, so it was a fresh start, so 1st of March we officially started.
1st of March. Wow, a lot has happened this year.
Yeah, I mean, I left Rightmove at the end of January, so kind of leaving Rightmove, the time of leaving Rightmove and making the decision that I was going to set the business up and then actually leaving. Yeah, that was quite a while to kind of box stuff off that I was doing for them.
Sure.
And so, in hindsight, actually, and we'll probably talk about it. Actually, I probably would have liked to have got more stuff ready.
Yeah, I think that's always the thing
I
that
gave
you want to get.
myself a month, and actually, I remember the first day. It's like moving house, really. You know, when you move into a house, it's empty, and you go, "Shit, what have I done?" Yeah, and it was almost like that of kind of going, "Well, where do we start? What do we do?" and all that stuff. So, it seems like a million years ago. I don't know where this year's gone though.
That's a lot has happened, and I think you've what you've done in those months is incredible, mate. Seriously. And we're definitely going to talk a little bit about the right move days and things like that moving forward. So Lennon James is now. I asked you exactly what you classed yourself as because you're not an estate agent. No. And what was the terminology you used?
Well, I mean, in layman's terms, we probably are an estate agent, but I class us as a full service property marketing company. The reason I say that is there's lots of moving parts. And it's more than just putting your house on the market. We want to make sure that we take people all the way through the process. Yeah. And that individuals take people all the way through that process. So that's why we call ourselves full service property marketing, because I don't believe you can sell a house to someone that they don't want. So all we can do is make sure that we do the bits that we can influence as much as we can.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we are trying to be different. So I'd rather kind of break the stigma of estate agent and kind of go in a different direction. Yeah, which I think you've already done that. I mean, to make the impact you have, I think in that period of time, I think is absolutely superb. So don't know how to deal with all these compliments.
But honestly, I think it's not the easiest thing setting up a business, and when you've come out of almost a corporate environment, to take the leap that you have, although it's in the same industry, I think it's a big thing to do, and in a market that isn't necessarily the most booming as well. It's not necessarily been the best market in the last 12 to 18 months. I don't think.
No, I mean in hindsight, hindsight's a wonderful thing. Actually, I probably never really thought about those things. I just kind of had it in my head of what I wanted it to be, and then it was kind of, I don't know, blinkers on. We're just full steam ahead. I didn't really think about the what if that doesn't work? What should we do? I suppose contingency planning in terms of day one. Yeah. Oh right, this is really real now. We better get on with it. It's kind of like, oh, that's a bit late. I should have been thinking about that 6 months previously. So, but it is really, really scary to do it. Yeah. But the option of not doing it was probably a lot scarier. Yeah.
Okay, that's interesting. That's interesting. Well, so staying where you were was not an option, any longer.
It was an option. I loved Rightmove. It was amazing. Yeah. But I didn't want to be that guy in a bar at 50 kind of going, oh yeah, I could have done that, or I should have done that. Yeah. In the end, the only thing that was the reason not to do it was security, family, responsibilities. Yeah. And in the end, it was kind of going, well, if I can make it work, then you have all those things and a lot more. So why not? Yeah. I can always get another job. At 36, you're still employable. Yeah. And in the end, it was kind of going, well, if that stuff is the only thing, the reason not to do it. Yeah. Then that's not really enough of a reason.
Yeah, okay, that's fair enough. I like that. How are we doing on time? We're good on time. Okay, so go on then. Tell me a little bit about the Right Move days. Then, I mean, we're going to come into this in section 2, but I'm actually intrigued. We've have flowed into that. So, tell me a little bit about the Right Move days. You were there for how many years?
So I was there 12 years. So I joined there in 2006. So before I joined Right Move, I actually worked in an estate agency. I was a terrible estate agent then. I was really young. I was paid to put houses on the market. That's what I did. I didn't necessarily do the right thing.
Okay, come on, tell me about that. If you can't, I can see a little twinkle in your eye when you said that. You didn't do the right thing. Go on, tell me about it. So we're talking. So we're talking what, 12?
Yeah, 2000. It would have been 2004. So I was 21.
Right Move was how old then?
So Right Move would have been probably about 4 or 5 years old.
Yeah.
But we didn't have a computer in our office. I mean, that's when you think about the growth of the last 15 years. That we didn't. Estate agency we didn't even have a computer. Everything was kind of handwritten.
That's when you think about it, that's a mental change in that period of time. That's
really,
mad.
Yeah, really scary. And just one day there was, because Right Move was owned by Connells, Countrywide, Halifax, and Royal Sun Alliance.
Right.
So it was set up as this internet thing might take off.
Right. Okay. So they didn't really take it very seriously. They just sort of set it up on a bit of a whim, did they?
I think people saw that the internet was going to be a
so
thing.
If they had some presence, then it would. Yeah.
A bit like some of these big estate agents have done with like the online model. So the emergence of Purple Bricks, for instance. Or actually, we better have a cheap fee model.
Yeah.
In the background, just in case that
Purple
takes
Bricks is
over.
an interesting thing. We'll talk about that. Actually.
Basically an email notice came round, and the company that I worked for was part of Connells, was owned by Connells. So, this email came around saying there's this thing, there's jobs going as like sales guys. I kind of thought my days were probably numbered as an estate agent in terms of we were putting lots of houses on, but we weren't selling them because I was probably overpriced in them.
Okay.
Just to get my money.
And how long were you doing that?
Probably about 6 months to a year.
Okay. So 6 months in, you already realised that your days were up.
Yeah. I was just too young. There wasn't really any credibility. I hadn't really any life experience.
Okay.
I hadn't bought a house.
Right.
So I was a bit, you a bit cocky. You think you can do lots.
Really? You surprised me.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it's hard to believe. And so I was just trying to find a path, really.
Yeah.
And so and then I went for the interview with Right Move, and it changed my life.
Yeah.
It changed my life.
And in what way what was it? I mean, obviously getting into that, you were sort of green.
Really green. I mean, I didn't know anything, and that was really. I kind of got in, really, I think, because probably enthusiasm and kind of, I remember the guy saying, my boss says I shouldn't employ you, but I'm gonna.
Yeah.
And he used to remind me of that all the time.
Right.
Nice. I took a punt on you, said, don't let me down.
Yeah.
I never forgot that.
Yeah. And it's nice to have somebody have that faith in your natural sort of ability, I suppose. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was probably the first time that someone had ever maybe shown, actually you've got promise from a work perspective.
Okay.
I wasn't particularly great at school. I was never interested. I just wanted to play sport.
Yeah.
And
football?
Football, cricket, tennis, everything. Anything that didn't involve actually doing any work, really. And so someone saying that, and then because it was such a young company, it was really exciting.
Yeah.
No one really knew it.
Yeah.
Back in the day when I started, we were trying to convince people to come onto it, and it was 150 quid a month.
Yeah. Really? Was it?
That's all it was. And it was 150 quid a month. You could put all your properties on.
Yeah.
And it was really hard.
150 quid a month, what, per estate agent?
Yeah, per branch.
And they could list how many?
Yeah, as many properties as they like.
Shit, really?
Mm. And it was hard. It was a hard sell. The
Isn't
market.
it funny when you look back? I mean, I'm not being funny, but you look back now at the fact that that's a hard sell.
Yeah.
It's a fucking no-brainer.
But
not then. But that shows how much has changed.
But most of the estate agents that we were talking to, they didn't have computers in their office. They were working from little boxes with cards in, and if someone used to phone up and say,
it was an antiquated industry for sure.
But I don't think people had lots of computers. It wasn't that way. People had 8 or 9, 10 pages in the newspaper.
Yeah.
You remember the old property supplements?
Yeah, for sure.
You can't imagine doing that now.
No.
But that's only 15 years ago.
That's mad.
I didn't even have a mobile phone. Everything was office based.
You tend to take it for granted that where we are now, that it's been going on for years. But you're absolutely right. I hadn't really thought back. If I think back to where I was in those days, then of course things were very different.
And being part of that 12 years went really, really quick because it was just so full on because it just grew and grew and grew. I mean, it's now a household name. I mean, if you're going to put your house on the market, the first thing you probably think of is Rightmove, and that's just happened overnight.
Okay, I mean, what we've got. So you've got how many years from you getting in there to it being a big thing? How many years was that?
So I joined in 2006, and then obviously we had the kind of crash, so we had the credit crunch. That was really scary because we basically all got put on kind of redundancy notice, and we had to fight for our jobs. So you were fighting for your job against your friend.
Yeah.
So again, that was quite scary.
Yeah.
It was probably after that, I think, that you kind of noticed that agents were then scaling back because they didn't have the money available to just spend on lots of stuff. So then they started to analyse where they spent their money and what returned it.
Right.
And they couldn't do that with the newspaper. You know, you can't say I did 10 pages and I got X, Y, and Z.
Of course you can't. It's not quantifiable, is it?
And with Rightmove, everything was, you could see how many people looked at your property, how many leads you got, what happened to those leads, the amount of phone calls.
Yeah.
And that almost kick-started it when people went, we need to scale back with the amount of money we're spending. Actually, we need to spend it where we can start to monitor it.
So smart, really, something that we use massively now in business analysis. Well, that was a perfect way of analysing for them and getting a sort of a judgment on how well they're doing.
And it was probably the only business at the time that had that sort of reporting function because we had the numbers to support it. So it was quite a big business there. We probably had 75% of all the agents on. But so we had good numbers. We had a good story to tell people in terms of, well, you had 100 leads and you had 40 emails and this is where those people lived. Quite compelling. And having to switch that off versus, you know, a kind of newspaper where you go, I think it works, but I'm not sure. It's hard to do that. So that's where, and then after that, it kind of just grew and grew and grew and grew and grew, and there was some really smart people in terms of what they developed. You know, we developed new homes, we developed commercial. And it just become a beast. It's a success story. I
mean, before we sort of wrap up for this with a very quick break, I even sold properties when I was building properties, which was like 10 years ago. I literally set my own thing up on there and started selling properties on there myself, which was that easy to do. And then the crash happened, and it changed. Like literally,
it was like from a property perspective, it was like someone switched off a tap.
Literally, we went from the property, the flats being valued at whatever, to literally 4 weeks later, struggling to even get an interest in them, and then it being a battle, flogging them, and so it was a big change. Okay, so we're going to sort of wrap up for a very, very quick break, and we're going to be back afterwards to continue our chat.
Thanks, mate.
And we're back. We're back with JB from Lennon James, the movers and the shakers in the property world.
Yeah, I'm writing that.
So we were talking about Rightmove. Not a path I thought we were necessarily going to go down, but I'm intrigued because I experienced what we were talking about before that little break. I experienced that crash, and generally most people that are going to listen to this podcast and stuff like this, they've experienced it as well. I don't think we're going to necessarily have a young audience, but even they would have, it was such a big thing when it happened 10 years ago. Shit.
Mental, isn't it?
It was 10 years ago, yeah. So we had a little bit of chat about this in the break. So what happened in Rightmove? What changed there over, the next couple of years when the change? I mean, interestingly, the internet was just getting going. Talk to us a little bit about how that benefited everybody, I suppose.
Yeah, so I think as every business really probably went through that time, it's almost like something just stopped overnight.
Yeah, totally.
And given we were like a lead business, so estate agents put their houses on the market, new homes developers put their houses on the market.
Yeah.
And we're reliant on people wanting to make inquiries about those properties. Well, there was no money in the world, and no one was giving out mortgages. They were also
completely stopped.
So it just literally stopped. So we'd spent probably 2 years on this path of amazingness, if that's not even a word, but it was kind of like we rode this wave of like, this is amazing, it's a young company, it's so so great to work for. And then you just had the rug pulled under you. You then had to sort of fight back for your job, and all that stuff. But actually, in hindsight, it was the best thing that ever happened, because one, I was probably a little bit naive to life. I'd never kind of had that fear of what happens if I don't get this. So,
and you had 2 years of a good run as well.
Amazing. And I didn't want it to end. I really didn't want it to end. And I remember it was almost like kind of, I can't remember the numbers now, but it was basically one job for every 2 or 3 people.
Right.
So you knew that you were applying for your role versus kind of like your 2 mates.
Yeah.
And I remember that time people were saying to me, "You're going to apply for other jobs, aren't you?" It was almost like a month window or 2 months, and I didn't even do a CV. I was just so focused on wanting to stay there.
Oh, really?
And
so you were single-mindedly staying.
I didn't want to leave.
Yeah.
I loved it, and I felt I was good at it in terms of I'd worked really hard to try and understand what it could be in terms of what is the value in Rightmove to an agent, and it was to deliver, it was actually to make it a lot easier for them. Rightmove makes it really, really easy.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have been able to set up my business without it, really, because
of what you learned.
How would you play catch up?
Yeah.
But how would I get how would I get any market? How would I get a view? How would people see me? How would they see our properties?
Yeah.
So it evens the playing field out a little bit. So from that purpose, though, if there's no money in the world and everyone is then cutting back, so all agents were cutting back, they were either shutting branches or they're kind of getting rid of staff.
Yeah, and how do you advertise to everybody if you shut your shop? Yeah, of course.
And the benefit at that time was these, they were probably spending sort of, 3-4 grand a week in the paper. The paper was not cheap.
Was it really? Was it that sort of money?
Really expensive.
And we were talking about this, weren't we? I mean, big sections of the newspaper were property. In essence, actually, there was property papers, wasn't there?
Yeah, exactly that. There's sort of maybe 100 pages per property section, and that was across the UK. I mean, it was a thriving business, and it was money for old rope too. So, I think businesses then looked to kind of understand in terms of, well, we're gonna have to cut things back because it's not a, if we don't, it's over.
Yeah.
And I think the benefit for us there, as much as it was awful, and it was awful for probably 6 to 9 months, a year.
Yeah.
Actually, what came out of that in the end was actually we had a business where we were able to stand in front of someone and say, "You gave us X, you paid us this, but we delivered this."
Yes.
And no other business was able to do that in that industry.
As you're saying, the newspapers, you can't judge. It wasn't like somebody's putting a tally next to that saying, "Oh, so many people have looked at this."
Yeah.
To put it in layman's terms, I suppose.
It was always kind of perception in terms of, I think it works for me, and I think my vendors want me to be in there. But would you spend 5 grand on something a week when you don't have that money and kind of going, "I think it works, but I'm not sure." Yeah. You've got this thing for 350 quid a month. It's definitely looks like it's kind of carrying its weight, and it did.
And analytically wise, you could analyse, you could have a look at how things were working as well, couldn't you? So there was the reporting was there. It's something that we take for granted now in business, particularly marketing. And
it's funny. I met someone earlier this week, and it's like I wouldn't commit to something that I wasn't able to analyse.
Yes. Oh, completely.
I wouldn't go. I wouldn't buy something and go, "Oh, all right, well, I'll just write off that money." We're not wired that way anymore. But that was only 10 years ago. Yeah. Where people were doing that week on, week out, and people still do the newspaper now. Yeah. You still see there's still people advertising it. I'm sure it has its place, but
I don't know. Does it? I don't. I'm not convinced on that. I don't know that there is a place for it. Maybe there is an age group potentially that may look at properties in there. Maybe that's where they see it. But again, how's it quantifiable? I don't get that.
It's a big cost for an answer that you can't answer.
For sure.
And for me, that it's an answer that it's not a risk I'm prepared to take. Yeah. When it's your hard-earned money. Yeah.
So Rightmove, in essence, rode a wave of people moving from bricks and mortar to sell their products, their houses, to then getting online and doing it. And of course, they were in the perfect place.
Yeah, I think it became synonymous with, in terms of, if you're going to move, you're going to look on Rightmove. Yeah. In the same way that if you think 10, 15 years ago, you probably would have had a Yellow Pages here, and
absolutely same thing. Yeah.
No one has one anymore, and it rode that wave, and we were fortunate enough that we had some brilliant developers and brilliant teams in terms of who made all that stuff happen.
Of course, that does help. Yeah, because it was slick. Always. I mean, the searching on it has always been very, very good. It's the Google for properties. That's where it was before the other boys. There's obviously a few more players now, isn't there? But then there was nobody.
Yeah, I believe, and I'm biased, but I still believe it's the best. It's simple. It does what it needs to do, which is, no one goes on Rightmove. People just want to look at what properties are available for them to view.
Yeah.
And that, in a nutshell, that is all Rightmove is.
Yeah.
But it makes it accessible for people. And in a world where people don't just move in the same village, we've got buyers coming from London, from Brighton, from Cambridge.
Yeah.
Actually, if you want to book them in all in the day, in the olden days, you would have had to... In the olden days, 10 years ago, sound like my gran, in my day. But if you were relocating, for instance, 15 years ago, you would have probably had to go to every single estate agent on a day to book in appointments for properties that you liked, and then you would have to come back another day. Well, now you can sit, you don't have to talk to anyone, you can just book in your viewings at your ease. Yeah. And on that basis, that's a really... The world can't be without that. It just makes it so easy for home movers. Yeah. And that's what Rightmove did. They made it really, really easy for people to view properties and ultimately then buy them. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I regularly go on there and check prices of properties and see how my properties are doing. Just to have a look. Yeah. And I think a lot of people use it for that, don't they?
Well, it's in the top 10 websites in the UK alone in terms of the pages that it's delivered. So in terms of everyone you speak to is interested in property, whether they're renting, whether they're buying. Everyone that you will ever speak to will have I want to do this and I want to do that.
Listen, you're going to rent, buy, whatever you're doing. Somebody you need a property to live in, don't you? We're not living in boxes, are we? No. Well, most of us aren't, thankfully. No.
Not yet.
And to those that are, hi, how you doing? Yeah. Thanks for listening.
But how are you listening to this?
Well, listen, they've got anyway. Yeah. But so interesting days, and of course that sort of came to a head. So talk to me about how that changed. I mean, you said you didn't want to get stuck in a position where you were always with them, and I'm assuming over how many of the most recent years was it for you to sort of start saying, do you know what, I want to do something different. I want to do something else.
Well, I moved around a lot within the business. So I started in a estate agency. I went over to new homes. I looked after the teams over there. Yeah. I then moved back into a estate agency, and then the last 18 months I was developing a product for Rightmove. I kept getting itchy feet in terms of I kind of want to do stuff. I want to understand stuff more. Yeah. And in big companies that's quite difficult because you have lots of people who kind of want to, I guess, manage stuff. So sure. When I started there, you could pick something up and you could run with it, and you could run with it easily. Yeah. Actually, the scale of stuff that in terms of the projects that you were doing, actually was multiple people involved, and in the end, I think it was I knew in my head that it was never going to be a forever job for me. Yeah. I didn't think I'd ever do 12 years there, and I did, and it was amazing. Yeah. I wouldn't have changed it. Yeah. But I didn't want to get to the place where I became stale and stopped really loving it. Yeah. And then you probably know it. You get a missus, you have a kid. Yeah. You have other responsibilities. You can't be as selfish in terms of doing 4 nights away.
Absolutely.
Working 5 till 10, but not being there. And even when you are there,
I think your values change a little bit, don't they? I suppose. Yeah.
I just felt like a shit, to be honest with you. Yeah. In terms of, look, I'm getting up early, I'm getting back late. When I'm here, I'm not really here. It was really tough for Vic. Yeah. Yeah. And it actually was really tough on me as well, because I didn't want to be that dad either. So, so that was one thing. And the second thing is that with the project, so probably the last 18 months was when I made the decision that my time at Rightmove won't be forever. Yeah. I always wanted to set up my own agency. That was always a dream, but I didn't really know what it was going to be. And then working really closely with some of the best estate agents in the UK, that was almost like I was kind of on the job training, really, because I was in there every day kind of going,
I love the way you looked at that. Yeah.
I want it to be like this. And then selfishly, I was probably doing recon of I wouldn't do it like this, but I would do it like this, and I tried to fine tune all those bits. And
I use this all the time. How not to do it is one of the biggest. I think the biggest thing to learn from is, particularly when you are in an industry or whatever industry, wherever you go, and seeing it and going, you do a good job, but I wouldn't do it that way. Yeah. And being where you were in a perfect position to see how everybody was doing it, and then sort of think about how you would do it differently.
Well, that was the beauty, because you're from Rightmove, and actually we were developing this product, so I kind of had access to everyone within businesses that I wanted to talk to, and I could see all their systems. I could see the way that leads came in. I could see the way they responded to them. I went out on viewings with people. I saw the after service. I saw valuations. What happened after that? Yeah. I saw the whole process of someone putting an offer in. What happened to that person through that journey? Yeah. And so that was 18 months worth of me just looking and watching stuff, going, well, if I did it like that, that would fit better, it would flow better, or there seems to be problems here. Well, how would you fix those problems? And so I was starting to piece it together in my mind in terms
even
of
before you sort of really. So you're already sort of starting to formulate an idea.
Yeah, well, I was starting to ask a question. I think the thing that was starting to probe me in my mind was that I was starting to question the business owners in terms of why do you do it like this? You know, just little things like the valuer goes out on a valuation meeting, he gets the valuation, they've bought into him, that person has trusted them with, let's say, a 500 grand house, they really like him.
Yeah.
He is then removed from the process forever because his job is to value properties, but they've bought into him.
Yeah.
So the relationship already is kind of disjointed because the guy that was going to help them all the way through, who's promised them all this stuff, actually isn't going to deliver any of that stuff. He's relying on someone else to deliver it. I felt quite risky. Unless you've got like an uber amazing team. So that was problem number one. Problem number two felt like, well, how do you connect with someone? So every business seems to be 9 to 5, but 9 to 5 is when I work.
Yeah.
So if I want to speak to you, how do I speak to you? Well, there didn't seem to be any access to that in terms of, well, who do you speak to then? And all the way through these journeys, there seemed to be that there was problems, whether it was searches or offers or negotiating offers.
Yeah.
And in the end, it came down to, well, who are you going to trust in this process when it gets to negotiating your house? You know, if you've got to take a lower offer than you want to take, are you going to trust? You'd probably trust that guy at the start, but he's not been doing the viewing, so it's probably not going to be him. Are you going to trust the people who've been showing around the house? Well, if you've met them, maybe.
Yeah.
But if you haven't met them, or if there's 4 of them and different people, so it's like, well, that feels quite a big thing. That if you're going to talk to someone about negotiating money off their house, or what offer to take, or what's the best offer to take, or look, I just want some advice. What do you think I should do? Whether it be reducing my price. Do you really feel like you've got the trust to be able to have that conversation with someone? So that felt like a big thing too. And all the way along, these alarm bells are going off in my mind, kind of going, well, the whole process seems to be kind of disjointed, and I think that's what makes it really hard for home movers, that you kind of have to keep picking stuff up.
I mean, it's not, let's face it, everybody says the most stressful thing you ever do. I don't think it's just buying. I think moving full stop is the actual move itself is a fucking nightmare, to be honest. I hate moving. It goes on for weeks, doesn't it? So not only have you got the pre-thinking about the whole bloody process you've got to go through, which takes 2 or 3 months anyway, and if you don't have somebody there to hold your hand, I'm not being funny, when I bought properties, I literally managed the whole process myself. Obviously, I wouldn't if it was coming with you when we made moves to Cambridge, because I love the properties that you show, but I've managed it genuinely because it's been easier for me to just grab stuff and go and run with it than it has been allowed, because people don't give a shit. 3 weeks you don't hear anything, and they could have done things. It's not that you couldn't have done things. And I look from some of the turnarounds that you're doing. It's a much slicker process.
The thing is that people don't move house every day, and they don't move every house every year, and the average cycle is probably 7 to 10 years. So it's actually really daunting. And so that's the first thing to appreciate, that you're basically giving up the thing that you love. You know, I haven't met anyone yet who doesn't love their house, whether it's 100 grand or whether it's 2 million. People love their house; it's their pride and joy, and you're giving that up. So already that's a difficult thing to do.
Sure.
And then
we do get attached to things.
And people are really proud of their homes, and they should be. You know, they're lots of money. You won't ever spend more money on anything, unless you're kind of super rich. So on that basis, it's an emotional thing already. It's stressful thinking about moving into another house. And then you're moving into a process that you might have forgotten or you don't understand. It can be scary. You hear horror stories about people pulling out. What do you do? You know, and from that basis, it's made to be quite difficult, because in my view, the reason I set up business was I felt that there was a need for someone to take some control of the whole process. And that's why I call ourselves a full service agent, because for me, I never leave the process of our clients. It's why we can't look after lots of customers. It's why we're quite niche. It's because you have to be able to commit that you can take that person from the day that they put their house on the market to the day that you give them the keys to their new house. And it needs to have that continuity all the way through. And that was the biggest gap that I saw. There were other gaps in terms of marketing and all that stuff, but that was the biggest thing in terms of you can make the process a lot easier by just owning it. And owning it means one person owning it.
And I think what you learnt over those years is exactly that, though, isn't it? And the reviews that you get speak volumes for what you do.
Yeah, well, the nicest thing about setting the business up is that the people because I work so closely with people. There's like Nicky at Hillside, there's Simon and Elliot at Brick Bar. These people become like your friends in the end, because you really want you want to get them as much money as you can. Yeah. But actually, you want them to kind of be really pleased that they made the decision to go with you and that you delivered on the things that you said. Yeah. Now, that's probably a business thing where you kind of go, you set up a business, you want everyone to kind of go, God, that was really, really good. But that was a real big drive for me in terms of people getting to the end of it going, I'm really glad I made that decision. Yeah. And thankfully, so far, we're able to deliver that stuff and deliver it quicker.
And very well. I mean, really well. Honestly, the reviews are incredible. Yeah, I don't know of. I mean, as you said, I'm always interested in property. I always keep an eye on it. And I just don't see people getting the results you do as quickly as you do. Bearing in mind that you have been running since March. Okay, you've got a huge background, and it's very different doing from what you were doing before, isn't it? Yeah. And we're going to talk after the break about what you do in your spare time, which I know maybe isn't quite as much as you'd like to.
Yeah, but I was going to say, what's that?
What spare time? Yeah. I listen. I don't think we get enough of that. I think it's something we're going to need to address in the next 12 months for sure. Definitely. But in the first year is always going to be one of those most difficult anyway, isn't it? But so far, mate, so good.
Thank you, mate.
So we're going to come back after the great break and find out what you do in your spare time. Anyway, so look, I just literally said, just record, even if we're still laughing. So I think what we've just decided is we're gonna do some podcasts and just record shit basically. I think that'd be funny, wouldn't it?
Well, I think there's been better content on the bits not being recorded.
So watch out for that. So we covered Rightmove, which I think was a really interesting subject. I wasn't really expecting to go down that path. And we'll get to spare time. So apart from doing podcasts, what do you do in your spare time? Do you do anything in your spare time?
I dream about podcasts.
You do? Dream about spare time?
Yeah, I do. Yeah. At the moment, this year, spare time has been probably just being with the missus and the boy. Yeah. It's been few and far between. Kind of 6-7 day weeks. But in the spare time, seeing your mates, haven't seen them as much as I'd like to. You know, football and all those bits and pieces. But I mean, I don't know. You're in the same sort of boat as me. Yeah. What have you? Spare time. Have you had much of it this year?
Not as much as I would have liked, and I think even when I have had spare time, okay, Nevenka's given me a shake in the head over there.
That's very definite, actually.
Might actually have to speak for once. Oh. I don't think we've actually had anything really. We've had a few moments where we've done things. However, with the spare time, your mind's always elsewhere.
I felt guilty.
You feel guilty for not addressing the business items that you think, I've got to do that. That can't wait till Monday. But really and truly, actually, if you took the time, which you have to learn to do, is if you actually take that break and go back, you're actually be able to focus and do it better. It's so hard because on both sides you can see that, yes, you've got to do it and you've got to put in those extra hours 100%, but you've got to have those moments where you sit down and think, I've got to breathe, I've got to relax.
Yeah, I don't think I'm very good at that.
Oof. Very profound. I mean, she doesn't say anything and then suddenly comes in with that.
It was worth the wait.
It was worth the wait.
Over and out.
No, you're absolutely right. I mean, the times that we've probably taken time, spare time, I would call it spare time, is when we've been not forced to, but when we've been invited to go to something. Yeah. And I have to, what, honestly, before going, I can't go. I've got things to do. We got invited to a premiere, which about Rise of the Foot Soldier, Marbella, which I think was a great film. Controversial. Some people think it's great. Some people are not sure, but I thought it was great. I think it was the sort of film it was. But we went along to that, and but what was it like before I went? I was like, I can't go. I've got things to do. Genuinely, I was thinking a whole night out. Plus, I'm going to have a drink. Yeah. Then I'm going to be hungover the next day. We had this conversation a little while ago. You're right. It's almost like a pre-guilt. Bizarre.
Yeah. Very.
So no, spare time has not been. I'm not saying we haven't done anything on weekends. We have barbecues. I know that people have seen that, and you've seen posts and things like that.
What I don't see behind the scenes is actually you're also in the office.
Yeah.
And whilst yes, we have had lovely barbecues, and yes, you have had a few moments in the pool, but between that, you're at the laptop.
Yeah.
You're
well, I've seen your
phone
videos you're doing at sort of 11:30 at night, going, oh, okay, you know, other people are doing it too, but it's the bit people don't see. You can't. It's hard to switch off.
Yeah, yeah.
I found it really hard to switch off this year, which is probably hard for my missus, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know whether that makes it easier that you're both in it together, but
I think it's always hard.
Depends which day you catch us on.
Because I feel sorry for my missus really, because she gets the real rough end of the deal. Because
but I think on both sides, I think you have to look at it on the outside side. You both of you are going to feel, no matter what, if you're in the business or not together, you're going to feel a bit distant because it's the focus. You know you've got to do it. You know the other person has.
Well,
to
I couldn't do it without her.
Yeah.
You know, because she does. You know, she does everything. You know.
Yeah.
I can't do anything without her. So,
Sure.
You know. But it must be hard because you're there, but you're not really there. If you know what I mean.
Yeah. So what would you? I mean, given the time and you know, and the money, because it's, you know, let's face it, there's a monetary value to time, isn't there? Obviously, what would you do? Is there anything you would do? Anything you choose to do?
I think I got.
You like playing football, don't you?
Yeah. So I'm too old for that now. My knees are gone.
Shut up! You're too old. What's the matter with you?
Too old. I'd like to go on more holidays.
That's it. Too old. Let's move on from that.
I'd like to go on more holidays.
Yeah.
Because I think that's the time when you properly de-stress.
Sure.
If I'm in the UK, I'll have my phone with me. It's too easy to open your laptop.
Yeah.
I think the only time that I switch off, where I never take my phone and never take my laptop, is when I go away.
Yeah.
Really? Yeah, that's always the rule.
I still do.
Yeah, so that's the rule. If you go away, I go away.
Right.
So that's she's right. So I would do that more, definitely.
Yeah.
Because I think that one, I probably need that. Two, the family needs it, and that's quality time.
Yes, of course.
So it's not like going, oh, let's go out on a Sunday, because my mind's still not really there. I think going away for a week, but being away for a week
and properly away from everything and not do anything at all.
That'll be my aim. That next year that we'll do that. You know, try and do that once a quarter, where you know we'll go and spend some quality time for a few days without distractions. That's always my long-term aim.
And where? Come on, where would you fancy?
Well, I hate flying.
Do you?
Well, you know that I hate flying.
Well, okay, yeah. We just drink. But I have to be honest with you, it's more difficult now to get to drink and get on a plane now, isn't it? They don't like it if you're drunk, do they?
I don't know. I've done it pretty well. I mean, there's a story that isn't for this podcast about how I proposed to Victoria.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So we won't do that.
Okay, yeah. Well, now I'm really intrigued, but we would definitely be able to do a late night show.
Yeah. Let's just say that it was in a Heathrow car park as opposed to in New York.
Right. Okay. Okay.
So I hate flying, but I would like to. It doesn't really matter where it is for me.
Okay.
I just like to spend more time with the family, but away from just no distractions. I think that would be nice. I think that's something good to aim for everyone.
Yeah. So would you say that's like a goal? Is that sort of a goal for like the next year or so? Or ultimately, is you just like to spend more time doing those sort of things? Is that what you would like to do?
I think I'd like to have more of a work-life balance.
Yeah.
You know, where kind of, you know, if I'm working, I'm working, and if I'm at home, I'm at home.
Yeah.
And you know, it's too easy for everything to be all consuming.
Yeah.
And without kind of going, no, that's work and that's home life. And at the moment, it's too far the one way.
Yeah. I mean, it becomes a melting pot of one, doesn't it? To be honest,
I don't think it's sustainable to have that all the time.
Yeah.
So I have to clearly the first year you kind of go through that stuff. But if that was going to be like that for the next 10 years, it wouldn't work. I'd probably
see. I'm a bit funny like that. I've always mixed it up a little bit. Even when I used to go, obviously, going back to the video games industry, I obviously do a lot of traveling, going abroad, and go to Dubai sort of once a year and stuff. I actually quite liked going to Dubai, walking around the pool, doing deals on the phone. I mean, I can't, but I like that sort of mix of the two. Could you do that with what we're doing in our businesses these days? Not the same. Trading's slightly different. If you're sort of buying and selling something, you're speaking to somebody, you've got to do. It's maybe not quite the same. I think you need to concentrate a bit more on what we're both doing these days in business. It's a little bit different. Plus, you've got to have an autonomous business to allow you to be able to do that.
Yeah, I think the most important thing is if you've got a family, that you have to appreciate that there is more important things. That, as much as the business matters, my family comes first over everything.
Yeah.
So if I'm going away to be with the family, I should be going away being with the family. There's nothing that urgent.
You're a nice guy, aren't you?
Well, I just think that's the right thing.
It is the right thing.
It's too easy to be really, really selfish, which I was before I had Lennon.
Yeah.
But kind of, I didn't want to have Lennon to be that kind of person that wasn't really there.
Yeah.
A bit like my dad, in terms of, he was there, but he wasn't really there.
Yeah.
So I didn't really want that.
Yeah.
So you have to make you have to try and make that work. It's not easy.
See, that's a very soft side of you. It's nice, isn't it?
Yeah, don't pass it on. Edit that bit out.
No, I think you're right, and I've over the years I've always had a harsher look on things.
The thing is, I'm not very good at it, so that's me saying that's what I'd like to do.
Yes.
I'm not very good at executing that plan. If Victoria was here now, she'd go, yeah, but you don't do any of those things.
Yeah, but the thing is, you know that you want to do it, and actually part of the purpose, by the sounds of it, of what you're doing right now, is to get to the point where you can do that. So it is a goal, isn't it?
Definitely.
And I was going to say, I've always been harsh over the years, going, yeah, but I can mix it all up and do this and that. But I have to be honest with you, when it comes to key and time, I probably feel less guilty about not sat in the office. Although this last weekend, I was guilty for sitting in most of it. I had to do it. I had no choice. But the weekends that I know, okay, look, I've got to step away. I've got to do so. I've got to go for a bike. Get on the mountain bikes. Honestly, it's superb.
Yeah, I bet.
Because I can't look at my bloody phone. I can't just take my laptop. I have got to get away. And he wants to go deer stalking or whatever the hell we're going to talk in. We're literally chasing deers through woodland. Honestly, it's really nice to do that, and it's nice to step away and do that. And I think you've got to, what Venka was saying, you have got to make that time.
That's the thing I hate about mobile phones, because I wouldn't be without mine because my life's on it.
Yeah.
But I hate it.
Yeah.
Because it's this permanent reminder of things
Always
that you haven't
there.
done. It's like. Oh, yeah, but I've just got something to do. I don't think people.
I've thought of two things while we've been doing this that I should have done,
right.
to be honest.
And it's just like, I know I've got a missed call in there, and it's like, as soon as I get in the car, I'm gonna. But it doesn't allow you to switch off.
Yeah.
I don't
because you can do whatever you need to do whenever you need to do it.
But people are contacting you all the time.
Yeah.
So it's a constant reminder. So I need to be good. My main aim is to actually be able to at some point put the
phone down, really,
and not look at it.
Wow. I do know people that switch them off at night. Literally switch them off.
So that's part of business in terms of I speak to a lot of my vendors on WhatsApp at night and all that stuff. That's how I communicate.
Yeah.
But I do need to find a way of being able to not be so reliant on this world, because I think it's quite damaging.
I think you just have to embrace it. I don't know whether it's damaging, but without it, you'd be fucked, really, wouldn't you? To be fair.
Well, if you lost your phone today, I mean, if I lost my phone today, I don't know what I'd do.
Yeah, no, it's horrible. It is horrible, and it doesn't happen very often. But when it does happen, it's like the end of the world, isn't it? Okay, so really come back to spare time.
I'm not sure we covered spare time.
Yeah, I don't think we did, to be honest. But I think we did.
I just made a load of excuses as to the reason why I don't get it.
But you are going to next year, and I've got a feeling that when we sit down and do another one of these, we're going to be talking about the fact that you did get some spare time. And
we might forget this one.
No, you will. Literally, let's touch some wood. Right, you are definitely going to be getting some spare time next year. We've got to make it. If we make a pact here.
All right.
Yeah,
let's you do it as well.
Yeah, we'll do it. Yeah, we'll do it. Okay, let's see.
And I'd like to know about your holiday destination. Doesn't matter where it is.
Okay.
We'd like to hear about that.
Yeah. We'll find out. Yeah, definitely.
But also the autonomous business, to be able to step away from your business, that is like a big thing.
Yeah, it is.
And I think that's...
last time I committed to something, we ended up getting a puppy.
Oh, for God's sake.
That's a really good thing.
Yeah, so there's your spare time.
Yeah.
And what puppy did you get?
We got a little Cavapoo.
A Cavapoo.
Yeah.
Now,
this is really not making me come across.
Yeah, but you're a real person. You are real.
So what was it? A Cavapoo's a mix between a Cavalier.
Yeah, I think it's a King Charles Cavalier.
Okay.
A Spaniel and a Poodle. Yeah, it's like a little teddy bear.
Yeah.
Like a little teddy bear.
Yeah. Okay, so listen, I can't say I'm the biggest dog lover. I think I may have committed to maybe having a cat in the near future, but
yeah, you want to get a dog, they're more personable.
Yeah, but
it's quite good having one. We've done that chat about you don't like other people's dogs, but
I know that was kids, wasn't it? Yeah. But no, I grew up with dogs. I struggle to see how they would fit in. And that's me being selfish.
It's a commitment. They are like having a child.
Yeah,
so.
yeah.
But you're always here,
so
they'd fit in really well.
True.
Yeah, but dogs in offices, I'm definitely not. I'm not a lover of dogs in offices.
It's good for the karma, apparently.
Yeah, I have heard that. Yeah,
it's good for the zen.
What? How though?
They have emotional support dogs.
Come on, I need to know. You can't get onto subjects, and I now need to know why.
I don't know. I mean,
they are more.
You don't know.
No, I don't know.
They're more in. So they read your emotions. So they read how.
Who does?
The animals
A dog
do. So this is
doesn't?
why horses do as well.
No, horses. A horse reads your emotions.
Yes, they do.
Right. Okay, I want to hear from everybody on this. Does a horse read your emotions?
Okay,
There's
so
been a lot of horse lovers.
So
I can imagine a racehorse in there just trotting around.
With rehabilitation, with prisoners and so on,
Okay.
they really do work with them because they read your emotion. And actually, do you know what? When you're there and it's your body language and how you stroke
What
them.
horses are we talking about?
No, dogs and horses. That's why you have emotional support dogs.
I can see that with a dog because they're yeah.
See, I would have said that about a cat. Because cats I know but cats look after themselves. But if you're not feeling good, and I go back many years ago, like 20 years ago, and I split up with somebody, and in a bad sort of 6 months or so, the cat that I had used to come and lay on my chest and literally purr, and I'd be cool. Because she could sense it, and I'm not being funny, right? Because I'm not a big animal lover, however that may shock people, but I'm not. But she genuinely did do that, and it literally did calm me as well.
So
you might be right. You might be right.
It is because you can't speak cat, you can't speak dog.
How do you know? How do you know I can't speak cat?
Speak for yourself.
I'm
fluent in dog.
I'm fluent in cat.
I've seen your CV. I know you can't.
Yeah.
So
I've lied on my CV quite a lot.
So how they read it is through your emotions and your tone of voice and everything. So that is how they pick it up.
Wow. Well, we've gone into some subjects this evening so far, haven't we?
That wasn't on your list.
No, it wasn't on my list, but I'm gonna write it down. Cats and dogs. It's raining.
Dog whisperer.
Okay, all right. So do you know what we're gonna sort of take a short break again. I'm just gonna take a short break, and we'll see you back in a moment. Oh, we're recording, are we?
Sorry, that was my fault that time.
That was right. And it's probably a good idea that we weren't recording right then, to be fair. So what do you wrap up on that last one? Oh, fluster now. All sorts of images.
So it was on. It was about how you spend your spare time.
Oh yeah,
and we got a bit.
And we didn't talk about that at all.
And we got a bit onto animals, but we were going to move swiftly on from that subject about.
Yeah, we were. Yeah, we are definitely. We got okay. So getting back on subject. The journey, which we've been through a little bit of the journey, and the right move journey, and what you took there, and we did cover a little bit, which probably would have been left a bit later, but it's nice to just have that sit back and relax chat. So I think I asked you before about what you wanted to do different, what your disruption was going to be into your marketplace. You've sort of covered that a little bit, actually, I suppose, when we were talking about right move and understanding. I say this, how not to do it. So, going with what other people were doing in a way that you think you could do better, yeah. or you considered would be a better way of doing it. So, what was it that sort of that you want to do that does make a difference? I mean, I know you are making a difference in what you're doing, but what is it that set you on that path to going? Okay, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do, going to set up and
probably a number of things. I guess the first is that having moved a few times over the last few years, you can kind of feel that things aren't necessarily as good, and I'd used a number of different agents locally, and kind of the same problem that we discussed in the first part of the podcast is the reality of moving house. If there isn't someone taking ownership of that journey for you, you know, it's really, really hard. There's lots of moving parts. The thing is, it's really complicated moving house. That's the first thing to get clear. And if you have some cheap fee estate agents out there, that's not a good thing for the marketplace, because it devalues how hard it is. It's really, really hard, and that's the problem with it. I think that and I'm coming from in terms of, so in our business, for instance, so to answer your question, for me it was about taking responsibility for every single client that comes on the market. So what does that mean? Well, that means that I go and meet every single client. Every single client has access to me whenever they want. Every single one of the vendors, both the husband and the wife, if it's the husband and the wife, are in that WhatsApp. It's not a phone call where you'll kind of go, oh, I'll speak to John, and John passes it on to Sandra, and Sandra go, oh, I'm not involved in the process. Everyone is involved in the process. I do all the viewings. I do all the follow-ups with them.
Yeah.
I do all the sales chasing with them. We sit down. We talk about the negotiation of the price.
Yeah.
If there's a survey and we need to organise a builder, we get the builder around.
Sure.
I like to think that I take ownership of the whole process, and they only ever have to talk to me.
Yeah.
So when it comes to things like negotiating price, when it gets to conversations about what's the right thing for you to do,
yeah.
let's find you a house and all those bits and pieces, they hopefully were in that place where we've built trust. They understand that I'm on their side to try and deliver them the best result possible.
Yeah.
And at our core, for me, it's about delivering the best service.
Yeah.
Generating people as much money for their house as physically possible.
Yeah.
There is no better feeling for us, which we've been fortunate to do quite a few times now.
Sure.
Where you know that they kind of want X for their house, and you are able to deliver Y.
Yeah.
There is no better feeling than exceeding those expectations.
Sure.
And for me, I want that to be the norm of what we deliver.
Yeah.
It's really, really hard work, and that's why we can't work with lots of people at any one time.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, we have to work with a certain number. So you will have estate agents out there that will have 60, 70, 80 properties. I don't think we're ever going to be that agent.
Yeah.
You know, we are niche for people that kind of go into this kind of going, I find it a little bit daunting.
Mm-hmm.
I want someone to really, really help me through this all the way.
Yeah.
And this is what that looks like. And you know, that's what I want our business to be. I don't believe it might not be for everyone, and that's absolutely fine. That's
of course.
That's cool for us.
Yeah. It's a big marketplace.
Yeah, it's a big marketplace. We don't need to take over the world, but actually, what I want it to be is this kind of sanctuary for people where they go, I know I can trust him. I know he's got my best interests at heart. I know he's going to do the right thing by me, and he'll deliver the results.
Sure.
And I think if we do those things, we're probably going to have a good business.
You already have, and it's just going to grow.
Yeah, I just think there's lots of different types. You know, we just talked about the cheap fee estate agent. I think that's really bad. I think that's really bad for the industry. I think it's bad for clients. It's really complicated.
In any industry, to be fair. I mean, and a lot of people do think that's the way to buy themselves into a market, isn't it? And it isn't. I don't think it's the answer, to be honest.
Cheap is never better, in my opinion. So that's not good.
Unless you're going to Lidl, there are other supermarkets available.
I love Aldi actually, but so you know, so that's not good for an industry. And that model's been created because unfortunately there's also the other type of estate agents where they only care about putting properties on the market.
Yeah.
They want to collect as many properties as they can. They sign people into long 16, 20, 24-week contracts.
Yeah, and we've spoken about that. It's mental. I mean, you know, as we said, if they're confident they can sell, which of course is their thing, you know, we can sell it for you.
Yeah.
As you're saying, why the hell be tied into it at all?
I would say to anyone that is, you know, if anyone's still listening, you know, I would say to anyone, look, if you're getting estate agents out, there's some things that you should really talk to them about. The first is that what is your marketing plan and what do you intend to do for me over the next 4 to 6 weeks to ensure that we find a buyer?
Very good question. Yeah.
And understand what it is that they're actually going to do for you.
Yeah.
The second is to understand what their responsibility is for you. You know, who's going to look after you and when? What does that look like?
Yeah.
Is that person just going to value your home and disappear? Who's going to look after you through that relationship? Because that's hugely important.
Yeah.
You know, too many houses fall through because of lack of control and almost people getting nervous, and that shouldn't happen. And the third is that if an agent is really, really confident about the service they're going to offer, why do they need to kind of tie you into a 24-week contract when the average time to sell in our area is about 69 days?
Yeah.
So, for instance, and I'm going to open myself up here, but we don't have a contract with our clients because people should want to work with us based on the things that we're able to deliver, and if we deliver those things, people won't want to leave us.
Yeah.
And touch wood, that hasn't happened yet.
Of course.
But that puts me under pressure to be able to deliver for people, and if I don't, then it's their house, not mine.
Yeah.
I shouldn't hold them to ransom, going, oh well, you signed your contract, and then you get. So I disagree with that fundamentally, but I think that, you know, it's an education piece for people in terms of there are other options out there. Not all estate agents work in the same way, and you probably need to spend more time questioning your agent about what it is that they're going to do for you and what their responsibility is through the entire process. It's not just about getting you an offer on your house. You're not even halfway there at that point. Getting you through from sale to completion is the hardest bit.
It is.
And you need the expertise of people to get you there. So they're my big things. They're the big things for us as a business that I think are the most important, and we just need to be as good or top of class in all of those segments, in terms of we make sure we market our house better than everyone else. We're striving to do that we're able to negotiate better than anyone else because we've created demand. The more demand you get, the higher the price you can get, and then actually that we create this after sales world where actually people aren't stressed out, they're not worried about what's going on, they're not left in the dark, they're kind of, there's clarity in terms of where they are in the process and when things are going to happen. And I think if we do those things, we'll be okay.
I know you're going to be okay. I'm talking about the marketing side. I mean, this is an interesting avenue that you've gone down, and I love the way you're doing this.
Thank you.
The videographing. That's not even a word, is it?
Videography.
The videographying.
Yeah, that's next year.
That's. I mean, it's superb. You've clearly got a very good partner. The guy that you work with, lady, male, female.
Yeah, Jack.
But absolutely superb. It needs to be congratulated on the work he does. And I don't know whether you've been lucky or whether you've just drawn the right people towards you to work with this stuff. But the vision you have, and obviously he has as well, works very, very well. Now we've talked about this, and it does take you on a journey. And I think we'll be putting in some details about your business so people can click on that. Which there'll be probably a button down below or around here somewhere, so people can have a look at the things that you do. And if you're in the Cambridge area, what the area that you cover exactly?
So we probably cover Huntingdonshire, is what I'd say. But
So I was wrong. It's not Cambridge, is it?
Well, we're based in Cambridgeshire.
Okay.
But we're kind of looking after like a smaller.
So that's your patch.
But the interesting thing is, since we started, is that I've now started to speak to lots of people have come to us and asked us questions, both buyers, sellers, and actually other estate agents about what we're doing too. So if there is anyone that ever wants to kind of ask any questions or is nervous or wants to ask about sort of what they should ask their estate agent, then please do get in touch, because as much as we're really busy doing our business, we are here to help people, even if there's nothing for us kind of necessarily from a business perspective to gain, because if you do the right thing, that pays dividends. So
one day they maybe want to move your area, you don't know, do you?
I just think it's really hard. I think people don't move all the time, and where do you go to get good advice, trusted advice? There isn't, where would you start? Where, if you haven't moved for a long time, where would you go to understand the process?
I'd come to you, honestly, and I don't mean that because I know you, but if I had seen what you did and I didn't know you, I would want to speak to you about it. One, you're approachable, you have a massive amount of knowledge from the years you've been in it, but I think it's just seeing what you do as well, and I think that's what you've already said. There's a lot of people that share things that you do, and I think that's because of how you go about it. It's real, mate. It's real.
I think it's. I don't know whether it's because it's my son's name over the door. It's my business, but I just really I believe it can be better, and at my core, I believe that the industry can be better in terms of the way that it delivers service to its clients. And unfortunately, too many times, people have come to me going, I'm in a long contract, I've had 3 viewings, no one's talking to me, and I genuinely don't think these estate agents try. As you said, it's a numbers game. They get as many people on the book, 60, 70, however many properties. To them, it's like having a car lot full of cars and somebody's going to come and buy one, isn't it? It's the same analogy. It's the same thing, really. They're working on the numbers, and with you, the numbers don't need to be as great because you just give that quality specifically on each property. Well, I think that's the thing is, let's have it. I'm going to have to sit here and go, we haven't sold every property that we've ever taken on. What I can say is we put our heart and soul into every single one. And
I love that honesty as well. Who the hell speaks like that?
But some houses you just, we sell a good proportion of them, and that's all good. But there are some houses that we've just really struggled to sell. And that happens. Now, there's 2 trails of thought there, and the first is the kind of going, look, we'll give it every possible chance that we can to sell. So our marketing strategy is the same for a £5 million house as it is for a 50 grand house. We follow the exact same process.
You got some 50 grand houses?
I wish I did. We don't.
No, unfortunately not.
But the principle is the same. That actually we need to try as hard for that one as we do for all of them. Because it's special to that person. Every customer deserves to feel special. It's the same reason I've never understood why some agents do professional photography on properties over 600,000. Never understood it.
Is that what they do?
Yeah. So,
really?
for instance, if you've got a really top end house, you'll get professional photography. But if you don't, you won't get it.
Right.
We do it for everything because you need to make that house. The job is to make the house look as good as it can every single time.
Yeah.
It's the same reason that we stage every single house that we go to. We ask people, we give people advice on maybe you want to declutter, maybe you want to start preparing yourself to move.
Yeah.
It's the same reason that we ask people to kind of get themselves legally prepared.
Just that level of detail is what makes the difference.
But
how many pictures have I'm not being funny, but I've seen pictures where people, they've gone and taken, there's loads of washing in the sink and stuff. There's stuff like, now, I'm not being funny, okay, it's real, and it might be, but if you're buying somewhere, you don't want to see it like that. You want to look at the picture like that and think, you're going to imagine that's how you're going to live in your house. That's not what you want to do, is it?
You wouldn't kind of get up in the morning and take a picture of yourself on Instagram and go, look at me, I'm great. So why would you show your property looking kind of not its best? But people, if you look at Instagram, people show the best of themselves.
Yes, of course they do, yeah.
But when someone's taking a picture of a property on Rightmove, it's not always how the property can look its best.
Yeah.
It just doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
And I can preach all this stuff about we're trying to change all this stuff, but it has to start at the core. It's really hard work to kind of say to people from the get-go, we need to get your house ready to sell.
Yeah.
If you live in the house, you have to start preparing it ready for people to come and look at it. There's a big difference between living in a house and selling one.
There is definitely. For sure.
Decluttering, making space for bits and pieces, and again, this it's a process in terms of the step-by-step things that you need to educate people with. It shouldn't just be a case of getting a property, sticking it on the market, hoping it sells, and hoping it gets through to completion. And unfortunately, I think that happens.
I think people just do. They genuinely do. They just keep their fingers crossed and hope it's all going to work. But and they're just hoping it's going to.
I don't think people have the intention that that's what they want their business to be.
Yeah.
But I kind of look at it and go, you can't offer great service to people with that amount of properties. It's impossible.
Yeah,
you
can't.
I know how hard I work, and I don't work a normal day.
Yeah.
And some of these branches have got 5, 6, 7 times the amount of property that we've got, and going, that is unsustainable. You will have unsatisfied customers who you won't have spoken to for a month if they haven't got viewings.
Yeah.
That's not right. In my opinion, that's not right.
No.
And some people will be listening to this and they'll probably go, well, I don't really mind. And some people will go, well, actually, I want more of that.
But that's which is why you've got a marketplace. But I do think there is a new breed of people in your industry like you that are starting to see things a bit differently.
I think they definitely are.
And we've had this conversation. You've got the big boys who are just literally churning these things over and don't really care, and are probably not really getting the best value for the property by not making, but they just want to turn it over.
Yeah.
And then they've got you.
Well, it's interesting because it's almost like it feels like the Rightmove 2008 again. And in terms
I think there is a
when the market's harder, you need an agent that's really going to fight for you, talk to you, and advise you about how in a good market where things are selling.
Doesn't matter.
Actually, it'll just go through anyway, and you'll probably be okay. In tougher conditions, actually, you probably want someone to hold your hand. You want someone to give you good advice.
I think so.
And I think you're seeing more and more agents kind of realise that actually you got to work harder and be better to make sure that your clients are more satisfied, because there's not the buyers out there.
Yeah.
So you've got to find them. You've got to work harder to find them.
Yeah.
And B, you kind of got to manage your vendors more, because they still want to sell and they still want their house for as much money as they can. And everyone believes their house is worth more than it probably is.
Yeah.
So you've got to manage that too when the market's not necessarily rising. So there's lots of plates that you need to juggle.
Yeah.
And I think my belief is that the industry will go more towards this way, because,
I think so.
Because every other industry has to be focused on service, because that's how you retain clients. You can't have clients just unhappy and expect to kind of have a long-standing business. It just doesn't make sense.
Yeah, definitely. And you found that Facebook has been a massive tool for what you're doing. And I think anybody that's smart and actually, you said you're a little surprised at actually the sort of pickup that you've had on there as a platform.
I mean, I don't mind saying to people that I think we would have found it really, really tough without Facebook, because I had a story and a belief in terms of what I wanted the business to be.
Yeah.
But if you can't tell anyone that and no one can actually see it, then it's almost pointless.
Yeah.
You can have the best book in the world, but if no one can actually read it, it's never going to be that. So Facebook enabled me to be able to, talk to people directly, interact with people. The amount of people that I had that were in contract with other estate agents and we were never going to get their property. They were on the market for another 16 weeks in their contract, but just being able to speak to those people and go, I'd advise you do this, and I'd advise you do that, and here's some advice. And actually, in the end, they sold, and it was really good. And then they passed our details on for other people.
Yeah.
So
so you actually helped people to sell properties.
Yeah, sometimes, the Rightmove thing has been really beneficial because there's certain things that you look at when you look at it from a property marketing perspective. That's what my background is.
Marketing property. In
terms of what is the best way to generate response on properties. That's what we did.
Yeah.
So, I'd like to think that I'm pretty good at being able to go, that looks really nice, and that's the way to do that, and that's the way to word these things.
Yeah.
And in the end, whether you're using Lennon James property or using anyone else, actually, if we can help more people move house, then that's a good thing for us to be able to do.
Yeah.
It shouldn't just be that we only talk to people who use our services. That's not necessarily a very good business strategy to have. So we're open to talk, even if you don't live in the area. If you just have questions and you want to talk to someone, just because you want some advice, then people can always pick up the phone and call us. My number's available, my email address is available. People can just DM me on Facebook,
and we'll make sure those details are available as well.
Yep.
Yes, definitely, and they have to visit your page and watch those videos.
Yeah.
I'm not being funny. They give me some inspiration of what property I would like to have.
I swear, honestly, you've got some great properties. We were talking about one of the properties you've got on, which is a converted
hub.
Yeah. Oh my God, love that place. But I have to be honest with you, there's quite a lot of them, and I'm sort of pleasantly surprised at actually the property prices that are around the area, and the standard of property as well. Not just the pricing, but the standard of the finish of some of these properties is incredible.
Yeah, I mean, Cambridge is, as you know, Cambridge is lovely, but Cambridgeshire we're really fortunate. We're 50 minutes from London.
Yeah,
it's a beautiful part of the world. There's lots to do. We're really fortunate. Some of the houses that we've marketed, it's been a privilege because they're just filmed. It's really, they makes the job really easy.
Yeah.
They just photo really well and they video really well, and it makes the job more straightforward.
Well, I was talking about you coming in the other day, and I mentioned in the office, and I said, do you know what? I'm quite considering moving from Essex to Cambridgeshire.
You should. I know a good agent.
Yeah, the real problem is though, what we're going to do is we're going to have Cambridge Business Radio.
That's okay.
Okay.
And then we'll have to have Essex.
And then we're going to have Essex in Cambridge. We could do Essex in Cambridge. Does that work?
Or Essex/Cambridge.
I think we're just going to have UK Business Radio.
Oh, I tell you what, this works really well. So we've got Essex. So at the moment it's EBR, which people thought was going to be Elliot Browne Radio. Quite a few people thought that, didn't they? When I was sort of dropping the name.
Was it going to be that until the
No, it wasn't. No. Initially,
like,
because Forge Management is sponsoring it, we were going to call it Forge Radio, Forge Management Radio. But it was a little bit long. I think with Essex, it seemed better to be as we're here. But no, it works quite well because as it was going to be EBR, right, Elliot Browne Radio. Because it's ECB, that's my middle name anyway, so it could be like... What?
So we're going to have people guessing when we do this.
Well, not really, because I'm talking about it now, so that doesn't work, does it?
They'll be like, the time has come.
ECB Radio. I mean, I think the time is coming.
Would you really move to Cambridgeshire?
Do you know what? The proper... I'm not being funny, because if I can't be the only person that does this, but there are you know a lot of people. And there's got to be people that, because a lot of people are sharing what you're doing as well, there will be people outside of your area.
Oh, we've had loads
that will be looking and going, holy shit! I could be buying. Because we'll get a lot more for your money up there.
Yeah, well, that's why the social media marketing in terms of the videos. I mean, that's why ultimately we create the videos because Rightmove's a great business as it is. Actually, you are.
But only if you search for that area.
Yeah, and you are reliant on people kind of sending you leads really, and that's not particularly proactive. That didn't necessarily sit that well with me in terms of I didn't feel like I was doing anything. So the videos allowed us to go and really kind of target different areas, and if I look back on some of our properties that we sold, we've had multiple from London, multiple from Brighton,
really,
and those bits and pieces because the links into London are really, really first class.
Yeah,
but it's a really nice place to live, and actually it's a lot more affordable versus the southeastern London where you've had the massive property booms.
Yeah,
some areas still really expensive, but not in comparison. I mean, we've just recently 2 guys have moved from a flat into like a 750 beautiful cottage.
It's the journey you take people on though, because when I watch your videos and I'm looking at them, I'm like, oh my God, I feel like I've been at that property. I literally, I'm taken through every step.
That's the idea.
I want people to fall in love with them. You know, my view was always that, you know, I wish that people only viewed one house in a day, but unfortunately they don't. They book into view 3 or 4, and I wanted people to kind of go, yeah, but this is the one I really want to view.
But often,
and that was always the feeling that I kind of, and I also wanted vendors to go, you know, people who are using our services to go, God, they really care about the way that they've shown my property. It looks so much better, you know, on the list of ones on Rightmove. It looks the best, you know. I wanted everyone to feel special for using us.
It's not just a wide. Is it a wide-angled lens they use?
Yeah,
and it's not just that. It's how you. No, but it isn't. It isn't. It's the journey you take the person on. When I watch those videos, because obviously we've looked at places and we've gone through. And you look at the listings online, and then you actually go to the property, and it's completely different. You think, really?
I'm not being funny, but my flat in Hoddesdon, when that was photographed, one time to rent it out, there's no way that second bedroom could do. It looked huge, and that's been done for years, hasn't it? I mean, this was a trick of the trade. Everybody's aware of it now, to be honest. But that's been a trick of the trade for many years. They just always make things, and that's the problem. Is you get there, rather than what you're doing is you're making them realise what the property's like and taking them on a journey through it. So when they get there, as you said earlier on to me, when outside of the recording, that you want them to sort of have fallen in love. So when they get there, it's like, yeah, do you know what? This really is as good as it looks on here.
Yeah.
Not get there and go, well, I expected this to be bigger.
Yeah, well, it's you know, it's that. There's nothing. Buying a house is one of those emotional decisions you make. You know, you walk in and you instantly know whether you like it or you don't.
Yeah.
You know, and it. There's nothing else really like that. You know, I've had the most beautiful problem. People go, I'm just not feeling it. And then, you know, people walk into another one, they go, I love it. And everyone is different. Everyone sees different things in different properties.
Yeah.
And what you might fall in love with, you might hate. And that's just the way it is. And, you know, that's why, if you look at our details now, so as well as the kind of photography, actually we answer a questionnaire for every single one of our clients that use us. You know, why did you buy the property? What do you love about it? What do you love about the area?
Yeah.
It's an emotional thing about, we're not just selling houses, we're selling a lifestyle in terms of, you know, are there things that people in London or High Wycombe or places like that, are there things within Cambridgeshire that they might engage with and go, oh, that's what I'm looking for.
Yeah.
Sure.
You know, and it's not just the property, it's sometimes the lifestyle too. So we've tried to, everyone read, you know, I want people to fall in love and go, oh, this is the one for us.
Yeah.
Because it just, as a business, it will just make us more efficient, because if we can work really hard on making our marketing brilliant, that means that everyone who will come and view will be invested, which means we're wasting less time with people that aren't really going to buy, because we have to manage our time more effectively. There's no point me showing 20 people around a house that have no intention of buying it. No. It's not good for the vendor. It's not good for me. It's not good for them too. Yeah. So, you know, we do this stuff actually from a actual position that A, we want to attract more buyers, but B, we really want people to be have vested interest before they get there.
Yeah.
Because that helps us drive the price up.
Yeah.
And so there is kind of, as much as it looks really pretty, there is a method behind why
of course
we do
there
it.
is. Yeah, of course there is. Yeah, it's not just about that. There's a lot more to it.
But for them as well,
it works. It works.
Well, the beauty is, I think it's replaced the brochure, because the beauty of it is we send the video over to them, and you can send that video over to family and friends, loved ones.
Yeah.
You can send that as many times, and the quality never diminishes. You'll never lose it. It won't go in the bottom of that drawer that will sit there.
It's going to get sort of dog-eared edges, is it? No.
You know, and it will, and you can keep that forever. You know, we recently sold a lady's house, and she said, I've still got the property video. I can still look back on it.
Aww.
You know, because she lived in that house. It was a special house for her, but she's got. I can always look back on the video.
Yeah.
And even just for that reason, you kind of go, well,
that's worth it.
That was a good thing.
Yeah.
Because you can keep the property details, but you can't often go back and look for them, because unless you're super organised, they'll be in the bottom of a drawer in a carrier bag somewhere.
Yeah.
So, you know, they're nice for those reasons, but people do share them. They will last the test of time, and I think that's important.
Yeah, definitely. Well, look, I'm congratulating you on your first.
Thank you, mate.
7 months. Where are we? 6, 7 months?
November, isn't it?
So
8 months. Yeah.
Amazing.
8 months. And I'm really looking forward to seeing everything go.
Thanks for all your help. I really appreciate it.
Mate, listen, I've done nothing. You've done it all. You do all the hard work. But before we wrap up today, is there anything else that you want to cover there?
No, not at all. It's been good.
We do. There's definitely quite a bit we want to cover, but we're going to do it in another show for sure.
Not today.
You don't. So we brought up the Cards Against Humanity.
Yeah, I don't know what this is.
Have you never done this?
No.
Well, let's do this. You've done a podcast.
I have no spare time.
Yeah. Well, I don't play games, to be honest. I'm not one for playing games.
Don't do pets. But
yeah. So what you need to do on this game is you need to pick a card. All right. Now, when you pick a card, it's going to have a phrase in it that you then have to pick another card or two, depending on what you've got. So I'm going to give you an example.
Should have rehearsed this.
No. Okay, no, you don't want to rehearse this.
This is a dangerous game.
This is a dangerous game.
Oh, okay.
All right. So I'm going to give you an example. So
hold
on this
on to
card,
your headphones.
On this card, it says science will never explain, and then there's a gap. All right. So everybody can see that.
1 second.
Okay. Oh, have you got that there?
Okay.
Yeah. You got that? Okay. So silence will never explain, and the first card here is living in a trash can. Makes no sense, does it?
That's quite tame.
So science will never explain living in a trash can. Okay, so the two go together. You're not feeling this at the moment, are you?
Well, I'm not understanding. Do we just keep picking cards?
So no, what you do is this is good with alcohol.
Right.
So what you do is you'll go round, and then after a while you'll start picking out them. And there's some pretty risque cards in here as well.
Really?
You can do it on non-alcohol as well. You don't have to drink.
Well, yeah, I did. Yes, not yeah. I mean, that's other things are available. That sounds wrong as well.
That sounds even worse than the first thing.
Non-alcoholic Prosecco is available.
So what I'm going to do is, I think
lame.
you should. If you just basically go into those cards and pick a card.
Okay, pick a card, any card.
Any card.
Okay.
I'll pick one too.
Oh no!
All right. Have you got?
If you get,
We're
all going to do one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Why not?
All right.
I'm not happy about mine.
Oh really?
Yeah.
It's the next card.
You know it's not good when it starts. Hey baby.
This is.
I don't like mine either.
Oh okay.
Okay.
It started. Hey baby. I've got major problems.
Okay. All right. Fine. Brilliant. So, and now what we're going to do? We're going to go with these, right? So I think we sort of.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't like mine.
Yeah.
So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pass this part. So now just pick a random card out of there. Is it just one? Have you just got one gap? Because on these cards you can have sort of one. That's quite funny.
So the first one was very tame, wasn't it?
Yeah, that could have been a lot worse for me.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
could it really?
Yeah.
Well, okay. I haven't even read.
Okay.
Shit.
Mine is.
Yours not good either.
No. Mine's all right so far. So it could go messy after.
Oh, okay. It's all depends on the white card.
Okay, mine.
So there's different versions of this. I think there's like different levels of bad.
Okay.
Dark humour.
Oh, okay, all right. So go on then. You need to go first. So what's your black card?
Okay, so my black card says, "Hey baby, come back to my place and I'll show you."
Okay. So what's the white card say?
So you've got hope you're going to get a white. And the white card is a web of lies.
Oh, yeah. I like that.
I think I should really put.
I banged the table.
Oh, you did, yeah.
What left?
Come on, you've got to come on.
What left?
Come on.
I can't breathe. What left this stain on my crutch? Oh no, not crutch, couch.
No, I liked your version there.
What left this stain?
Oh, that is brilliant.
On my couch.
Oh, what a Freudian slip.
Okay.
Okay, was it your crutch?
No, it's who left the stain on my couch. Okay, so what left this stain on my couch? Bosnian chicken farmers.
That would have been so much better had it been your crotch.
I do think that was much better. See, I think mine's really tame. I'm not like the rest of you. I'm too rich and busy for mad hacky sack skills.
Could have been worse.
And this is the Cards Against Humanity.
It is Cards Against Humanity. If they would like to send us a free box of cards, then please do so.
Yeah,
we'll give you the address.
The dark version would be.
Well, there are some dark ones in here. I mean, that's actually been.
That would probably be quite good. A few wines in, I imagine.
It does get better. Many years ago, somebody told me about this game, and I never played it until more recently. And I think with a few drinks, that would be a lot of fun.
Yeah, we usually get into Family Fortunes if it's starting to get spicy.
Really?
So that's when you know.
Starting to to get spicy. So a spicy night involves family fortunes.
That's how we rock.
Now, we were talking about spare time earlier on. Now, this sounds like you really know how to live it.
Well, I haven't played for a long time. But,
Not out of the game though, are you?
Yeah, when you get going, we can.
Well, listen,
we can go wild.
You've got a whole new game now that definitely is one of. Listen, if you're going to put something on the Christmas list, if you're going to get on a Christmas list, get one of these.
Yeah, maybe if anyone wants to give me a present.
Yeah. Well, maybe we'll sort that out, babe. We'll put that down. Yeah.
Put that on the list.
Honestly, mate, thank you very much.
Thanks for inviting me.
Coming in. Honestly, and I look forward to doing another one with you very soon.
No, it's an awesome setup you got there. Thanks for the invite.
Yeah, it's been good. I mean, we do sort of equal classes as the Fireside Chat, but I genuinely don't think firing that up while doing a recording would be a good idea. It would literally melt, I think, here, to be fair.
I mean, that light was pretty hot before. So.
Yeah. Have you got a bit of a tan now? Do you feel sort of...
No, I don't, because it's gone up. It's been good.
Thanks very much for joining me.
No, pleasure.
And JB from Lennon James Property.
Lennon James Property, that sounds.
Yeah, and honestly, what a great chat we've had. I look forward to doing the next one. My name's Elliot Browne, Essex Business Radio. Thanks very much for joining us, and I look forward to you joining us for another podcast very, very soon.
Listening to Essex Business Radio with your host, Elliot Browne.